All right, guys. So we're going to talk today a little bit about staying on your diet, even when you're on vacation or you're out of town, and it's very easy to lose your habits while you're out of town. So we're going to talk a little bit about today, some strategies, and I'm going to work on my rising while we're doing that because I just need to, and I'm working out. But anyhow, so when you travel, the one of the most challenging things about it is where are you going to get your food at, and are you going to have access to a kitchen where you can make your own food, or a refrigerator, or this, that, and the other. So as an example, I traveled over the weekend. My diet held up great, and here's how. So going down, I knew that I had a fridge available to me with a freezer, so I knew what I could bring. I also planned out ahead of time what meals were structured. So for example, in my case, I was going to a wedding. So wedding, there's a reception party, and then there's there's a welcome party, then there's the wedding, eating at the reception. So what I know right off is that 2 meals of the 2 nights that I'm gonna be there, 2 of those meals are picked out for me. So there's not a lot I can do other than show up and make the best choice in the moment that I can. So what I do is I go ahead and prepare the rest of my meals. So I know that my breakfast, and if you're like me, you're having breakfast, and then I have a mid-morning, and then a lunch, and then a afternoon, kind of have like smaller meals set up. So what I know for sure when I'm going out of town is that I've counted the amount of meals I can't control, and the meals that I can control, I have prepared exactly more or less what I would be eating at home. So in this instance, drove about 6 hours away, brought a Yeti cooler, filled it with the food that I need. I had the yogurt, I had my frozen fruit, had a freezer where I was going, brought my blender, make smoothies, protein shakes, brought protein powder, protein bars. This way you're kind of like, you're set up for success. And then the meal that you have to pick from throughout the day, maybe that's your dinner or your lunch, or whatever the nature of the trip is, that meal, you just got to show up and do the best you can. As an example, the wedding that I was at, had a buffet style. They had salad, they had steak and chicken. The chicken was fried chicken. So what do you think I didn't, I didn't have the fried chicken. I had the steak instead. They had a potato bar where you could custom make your mashed potatoes with cheese and bacon and all this, right? So, but they also had green beans and broccoli. And they had the salad. So my plate looked like salad, green beans, broccoli, steak. It was fantastic. It really wasn't as lean a food as I normally would have eaten. I could tell it had all kinds of butter and all that, So not exactly the way that you or I would prepare your meal, but you've mitigated the damage as much as possible. And then you have a decision to make on, like, am I going to have dessert because this is a special occasion, or I'm somewhere where the dessert is really good? You just got to make a call. And know that the good news is, while you're out of town, most of your meals adhere to your schedule, but you just had 1, 2, maybe 3 meals that were planned out where you may have had a little more calories here or there than what you might have intended to. But, you couple that with staying active and getting right back on track when you get home, you have no problems whatsoever. So my advice is, when you go on into planning a trip, no different than you would plan your stops and your stays and where you're going to go, plan your meals and have yourself, with a path. And maybe that means you look the meals up ahead of time and see what restaurants are available to you. I didn't, just because I like things simple. I had busy days ahead of me. I just brought the meals, microwave, freezer, fridge, you're handled. If you don't have that, you're just in a hotel, again, you've got protein powder, you got protein bars. Generally, there's some type of fridge in most hotels that you can, put a Tupperware container in, and, you just eat the food. That's what it is. You're just getting the nutrients in so you can continue throughout your diet and your day. The best part about this, guys, is you feel great. So when you're on vacation, typically what happens is you might go in and you're feeling very lean and you're feeling, very confident going into that vacation, but you get there, all of a sudden you're eating things that you're not used to. You're having a lot more sodium. Maybe you start to puff up a little bit. All that hard work you did prior to, when you're going somewhere and you want to look your best, you tend to start not looking your best while you're there. So if you stick to that diet while you're there and have it planned out, make it easy on you so you don't have to make complicated decisions on your diet. You just go with the flow of what you usually do. You're going to feel better. You're going to look better. You're going to continue your weight loss journey. And then when you get back home, you're like right back on track, and you didn't make all kinds of bad decisions that make it hard to get started back up when you do get home. So those are some travel tips if you're trying to continue your fat loss or weight loss journey and you're trying to stay in shape. Obviously, if you can bring a little bit of exercise equipment, depending on where you're going, you're better off for it. I brought some bands and I brought a kettlebell. That way I could work out, when I had the downtime. And it worked out fantastic for me. So hopefully this helps you guys. I'm going to work on my riser. See you next time.